On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. We are fixing America, and Trump is certainly leading the way, and he's doing a great job at it. We've got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of news happening, certainly. And, we've got some stuff from TPUSA that we are going to start off with that I thought was pretty cool. First and foremost, though, we're going to start off with this cool little video that Trump posted. Check this out.
Well, I'm thrilled to be back in this incredible state with so many proud, hardworking American patriots, which is what you are. And let me begin by wishing each and every one of you a very Merry Christmas. We're here tonight to celebrate 11 incredible months. It's been the most successful first year of any president in the history of our country. Since my inauguration, we've created more than 53,000 North Carolina jobs, including 8,000 North Carolina construction jobs. More than 150,000 North Carolina residents have been lifted off of food stamps. We had men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody, crime at record levels, the worst trade deals ever made. And our country was laughed at from all over the world, but they're not laughing anymore. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world because we finally have a president who puts America first.
Finally, too. Thank God. Thank God. We've got Don Jr. called the president in the middle of the TPUSA thing. It's pretty cool. Check this out.
I wanted to call in a little guest. He may not be here today, but I wanted to make sure he had a chance to say hi. Mr. President?
Hello, everybody.
Can you guys hear us?
I want to be with you, but I'll be with you soon. And I just want to say that nobody did more for me than Charlie, and there's nobody better than Erica. And you are the greatest people on earth. We won in a landslide, and we're going to continue to do it. And I just want to thank everybody. You got out there, and they voted, and they pressed doorbells. And I just want to thank you all, and I hope my son's doing a good job representing me. Otherwise, I'll have to say, you're fired, Don. You're fired. So thank you very much, and have a great day. And I hope Don makes a great speech. If he doesn't make a great speech, let me know about it. I'll give him hell.
Well, Dad, there's literally...
Everybody, Don, go have a good time. And say hello to Erica. Go have a good time, everybody.
Well, there's 30,000 young patriots in this room. The movement continues. They're looking forward to supporting you and everything that you, Charlie, and really everyone that's part of this movement stands for. So thanks, Dad. We appreciate it. We love you. We'll speak to you soon.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, everybody. We love you. Have a great Christmas.
Thanks, Dad. We love you.
Always a good USA chant at the end. Got to have that for all sorts of good measure. J.D. Vance had a couple cool comments, and Nicki Minaj was obviously at this TPUSA thing, which is why, again, I featured her on my Friday show. Again, still think it's funny how much crap I got for it, but whatever. It's all right. We're going to leave that out. J.D. Vance, he posted this. He said, Nicki Minaj said something at Amfest that was really profound. I'm paraphrasing, but she said, just because I want little black girls to think they're beautiful doesn't mean I need to put down little girls with blonde hair and blue eyes. We all got wrapped up over the last few years in zero-sum thinking, binary thinking as I call it. This was because the people who think they rule the world pit us against one another. At Nicki Minaj rejects that. We all should. Beautiful thing. The fact that she's come out, this is actually a pretty cool little 10 seconds that she did.
We won't be silenced ever again. We will speak up for Christians wherever they are in this world. Amen.
Again, how many rock artists or how many huge stars are out saying this kind of stuff that are out promoting Christian values? None of them, right? J.D. Vance, pretty funny. He just actually tore into Jasmine Crockett, which is always entertaining nonetheless.
And Jasmine Crockett. Oh, Jasmine Crockett. The record speaks for itself. She wants to be a senator, though her street girl persona is about as real as her nails.
It's, that's pissed her off, obviously. Everyone's picking on Vance. Vance takes it like a champ, except Nick Fuentes. He's not really happy with him, apparently. He was being really, really hard on his kids, which is just kind of messed up. And so, again, hopefully that kind of stuff isn't happening on our side of the fence. I mean, kids are kids. Got to leave them out of it, man. Someone's like Tim Walz. He's retarded for sure, but I certainly don't want to try to poke on his kids, man, just because their dad's a tard. Like, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. So J.D. Vance said, let me be clear. Anyone who attacks my wife, whether their name is Jen Psaki or Nick Fuentes, can eat shit. That's my official policy as Vice President of the United States. Amen. And again, he kind of gets into his feelings about Nick Fuentes. And again, I think it's interesting that Tucker had him on the show. I don't know if giving Nick a voice was necessarily a good thing, but oftentimes, you're putting his speech out there, and at least people can weigh how they feel about it. But I think sometimes giving people an extra voice, even though you're just like, but sunlight's the best disinfectant. It's like, well, yeah, but nobody would have saw his thoughts, like it's not disinfecting him per se. You're actually giving him reach. You're helping him grow. You're helping make him bigger. That's not necessarily what we want, but that's how it works. That's just the game. That's how it works. Like it or not, believe it or not, don't care. Dan Scavino Jr. posted this. Keep up the fight and continue to stay strong at Tulsi Gabbard, at DNI Gabbard. Some may not understand or get it now, but in time, they will. Nobody said this shit would be easy. Thank you. Again, they've got the support inside their own organization. I think it's important. Some stuff with the border and whatnot. So DHS, this just trips me out, by the way. DHS located nearly 130,000 unaccompanied missing children, says Kristi Noem. And to be precise, which is even stranger in the story, there's 129,143 of them. Unaccompanied illegal immigrant children whom the prior administration had lost track of. Somehow we found them again. I don't know if maybe they weren't really all that heavily missing. Like, we kind of thought we knew where they were, but we didn't really know where they were. I don't know. To me, it just seems like a lot that they just found. Now, I know this is over a period of time. I know they've had a number of situations out there. And again, I'm not trying to poo-poo the administration at all. I don't know. It's just, there were supposedly 323,000 missing total, and they found almost half of them, or close, 40%-ish. So, yeah, just trippy how it's playing out. But all the same, I think it's wonderful that we are finding these children. Hopefully we send them back home with their parents. Known for the holidays, she says DHS chief offers $3,000 bonus to illegal migrants if they self-deport by December 31st. Take advantage of that offer. It's a good offer. We'll see what happens, obviously. Just a picture. This might be one that a lot of people will enjoy seeing. But we've got a Border Patrol smashing in the window of a vehicle, apparently with an illegal alien who refused to comply. And this is what I voted for. No mercy for these people. This is a tough way to kind of go at it. It's with Nick's order again. They got to go back, every single one of them. I wouldn't say I share that completely, but all the criminal ones for sure. Anybody that has done any additional crimes outside of the fact that they're here illegally, definitely. I think if we literally got rid of every single person that's not here legally in this country, we actually probably would have a small problem with the workforce. Certainly in some states more than others, likely. Again, when they say there's not Americans that'll do the job, it's not necessarily true. It's just that there's really not a lot of us that are going to go work fast food, right? Like if I went back to the workforce, at least in a W-2 job, I don't think I'd go back to a fast food restaurant to feel like I'm helping my country, right? Like, so there's jobs that, I've done. Worked in a grocery store for 4.5 years. Actually loved it. That's probably what I'd go back to. But still, maybe IT, but really hate that world. I don't miss it. I don't hate it, but I don't miss it. Justice Department ends Clinton rule. They were giving welfare to migrants. We sort of talked about this, but I felt like this thing kind of breaks it down really well. So I wanted to read this to you so you guys understood how this plays out. Because, of course, judges are going to try to stop this from happening or whatever. But I think they're running out of runway, frankly, and running out of different things tactics, if you will, different tactics they can use. So, man. But the Department of Justice is closing a Democrat-created bureaucratic loophole that has allowed legal and illegal migrants to get a huge quantity of taxpayer aid since 1997, despite a 1996 law limiting aid to citizens. The loophole was created by President Bill Clinton's administration after Congress passed the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act of 1996, which was intended to strengthen the principle that legal and illegal immigrants come to America to work, not to collect welfare benefits. We now retract that 1997 opinion and offer the best reading of the phrase federal means-tested public benefit, President Donald Trump's Justice Department said on December 16th. The new rule means that legal and illegal migrants will not be able to claim welfare, food stamps, housing, or health care subsidies, and many other aid programs. The aid cutoff will likely force more illegals, especially families, back home because many cannot earn enough money to afford housing, food, health care, and other expenses in the United States. The reduced number of migrants will help raise Americans' wages, reduce their rents, and encourage sidelined Americans to seek jobs. This, I think, is written very truly. Now, again, if every single one of them goes home, yeah, we create a bit of a problem. But if we get rid of the problem ones, which is really who we want to get rid of, we're doing a huge service to many Americans. And again, yeah, rents are going to come down. A lot of things are going to happen. And getting people off the dole, or letting people think that they can get the dole while they're here, is a huge problem. Donald Trump truthed this out. Said GOP Congress delivers historic tax relief, secure borders, and safer communities. Dem Congress obstructs government shutdown, yet another impeachment, and health care for illegals. This is what they stand on. Now, Democrats right now are threatening another shutdown. What have I been saying? Oh, yeah, another shutdown's coming. Here they are talking about it. They're already using the excuse for Trump shutting down the climate center in Colorado. That's what they're using as the excuse. The National Center for Atmospheric Research in Boulder, Colorado. The important stuff they were going to pull from there and put it into other administrations, NASA, probably stuff like that, right? And they're set up to manage those types of programs, so why do we need this bleed over? And then on top of that, this has, of course, been the group that's been most heavily responsible for a lot of the green stuff and a lot of this green geoengineering that we're trying to go through right now. So that is what they're going to fight for. This research facility in Colorado that we can move all the stuff it did. Yeah, we absorbed it. Other places, we didn't need to keep that going. Didn't need to. We brought that stuff to other locations. They're literally going to shut down the government for that. Hopefully they find a better excuse to shut down the government. But this is the thing. They have to shut down the government. They have to. We're bankrupt, we're broke. I just think it's an issue of we haven't had it admitted to us yet. I literally think that's what these shutdowns are. I think tariffs are paying for a lot of things. And I think they've managed to maybe get a little bit of funding that they're allowed to do. Like, you know, your budget, you can maybe have $1 trillion or whatever. Because I know we push you at Pentagon budget, though there's others that they're threatening to stop. One of them in here is the national... the other side of the military, which I thought was interesting. Oh, where is it? It's up here. Oh, here it is. Defense, Departments of Defense, which I think is Department of War, isn't it? But isn't that the outside the Pentagon, right? That's not the troops and stuff. They paid for the troops. All that's paid for. But yeah, maybe some of the bureaucratic nonsense, which is parts of the government that I think this is where a lot of the deep state stuff still exists. But we're working on it. But labor, education, health and human services, these are the things that shouldn't really be turned back on. So again, they're hiding behind this, or they're using this, or it's actually happening because people can't control themselves. I don't know exactly how, but the government almost assuredly has to shut down. We need to make major radical changes, obviously. And the Supreme Court needs to come out with some decisions regarding tariffs specifically, and they better let us continue to use tariffs. But yes, the Dems are going to shut down the government. They just need a good excuse. And they're going to be test ballooning a few of those. But they're running out of time. It's end of January, I believe. End of January. That's it. Government's going to shut down again. Get ready for it. Ro Khanna, whatever, says he and Thomas Massie may bring articles of impeachment against Bondi over the Epstein files release or lack thereof. Well, Todd Blanche has some thoughts and feelings about this.
Congressman Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna, the authors of the Epstein bill, say the partial release of files failed to comply with the law. They say they are considering looking into the possibility of impeachment proceedings, contempt, even criminal referrals for obstruction of justice for DOJ officials. Do you take these threats seriously?
Not even a little bit. Bring it on. We are doing everything we're supposed to be doing to comply with this statute. And Congressman Massey and these other congressmen that are coming out speaking negatively about Director Patel and the Attorney General have no idea what they're talking about. They know the work that we're going through. They know what we're doing to protect victims. I mean, just think about what we're doing. You're talking about 1 million or so pages of documents. Virtually all of them contain victim information. So, listen, the idea that Attorney General Bondi would ever let a single piece of paper go out of this department that contains victim information is something they know we won't do. And the fact that they're threatening to impeach her for protecting victims is a reflection of where their head's at. It's not a reflection of this department. We are complying with the statute. We will continue to comply with the statute. And if by complying with the statute, we don't produce everything on Friday, we produce things next week and the week after, that's still compliance with the statute. There is well-settled law, as they should know, that in a case like this, where we're required to produce within a certain amount of time, but also comply with other laws like redacting information, that very much trumps, redacting information very much trumps some deadline in the statute.
Reasonably sure I played that yesterday, but whatever. It's still relevant at the moment. J.D. Vance demands the Senate GOP lift their stupid rules. Check this out.
We need your help to get there. Do you want more prosecutions? Great. So do we. Donald Trump and I have a list of better judges and prosecutors to enact swifter justice. So join us in the fight against the stupid Senate rules to stand in their way. Do you want faster deportations? So go to ice.gov/join, because we're building an army of patriots and we need good people who care about the country to help us.
Yeah, ice.gov/join, I think he said. Yeah, check that out if you guys are looking for jobs, especially if you want to get involved and help, or if you're curious what that really actually means. Just another example of what Democrats are. We've got a convicted child molester. He's running for mayor of Providence, Rhode Island. Literally, convicted child molester. Documented conviction for child molestation. Quietly entered the 2026 mayoral race. That's just concerning on many, 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 many levels. I want to remind you guys of the wellness company. I forgot to bring in my contagion kit. I got my kit recently. I've also got the parasite cleanse. These are things I live by. I love. Contagion kit, for those that don't get it, it's got your ivermectins, it's got your hydroxychloroquine, it's got another antiviral, it's got the azithromycin, which is an antibiotic for really chest, lung infections, and it's also got the budesonide. It's the generic of it, I think, like Pulmicort or something like that. I forget what it's called, but it's the asthma medication, basically, and it's got the inhaler, the aspirator thingy. It's got all that, and you got 5 vials of that. This thing will save your life if you get that crazy flu that's been floating around. That's for sure been pretty nasty. Again, I immediately started taking the Ivers. I have that in a few different ways. I immediately started taking that. I knocked the virus part out, but it did still get into my lungs. That slightly got infected, and ultimately I got through it. But that part hung. That part in the chest is a little brutal. You don't want to be missing out on the zithromycin. That would have helped me, and that was why I bought the contagion kit, because that reason right there. They're going to try to get us in the lungs. That's what they do. So they've got a whole ivermectin collection. Certainly the Parasite Cleanse, highly recommend it. It's 90 pills. You're getting 25 milligrams of ivermectin. You're also getting 250 milligrams of mebendazole in one pill. You take one time a day. It is awesome, and you will notice differences. You're supposed to do it for a short period of time, and then you take it off for a little bit, and then you go back into it. And again, I'm on a little small break from it right now. But I've noticed even the little red dots I've got on my body, like little, almost like red freckles. Some of them are slightly bigger and smaller than others, whatever. Those have almost all turned to black. With a couple exceptions, they've almost all turned to black. They're dead, whatever was inside those red freckles I had. Yeah, I just thought they were red freckles, folks. I didn't know. Yeah, that kind of tripped me out. It freaked me out a little bit too. It's just like, gross. And then it's like, damn it. So now I've got a bit of a passionate attack that I've been doing through these guys. And all that said, the ivermectin collection, they've got also a skin cream that people are finding amazing results. Say you're somebody that's got maybe some sun damage on the bald head, or you spend a lot of time in the sun and you're worried about possibilities of skin cancer and or you're sort of already prevalent to it. They've got a cream that's a 1% ivermectin cream that literally is a way to kind of treat yourself that way too. People are noticing a lot of crazy stuff there. I'm also going to talk about Drop. There's two products I promote that handle weight loss in very different ways. I'm saying that because Drop is a much more aggressive version of weight loss. I wouldn't say it's quite to the level of Ozempic, but Drop is changing people's lives. Now, what's funny is when you go to weight control in general, appetite weight control, they have all this different meds. I'm going to just point it out to you. I'm not trying to be mean to these people at all. I'm just telling you, I think Drop's the way to go. So they've got this appetite support thing. It helps diminish your appetite a little bit, right? Curbs your appetite, curbs cravings, right? And I think I got some other stuff in here. Where's the other stuff? They have other stuff. Where is it? Is it over? Oh, it's by goal. That's right. Appetite control. I'm sorry. Going to the wrong place. So they've got this one for your appetite. They've got this one for your metabolic reset, right? They got this one for metabolism. Right, so they got three different meds, I don't know. They got three different products that kind of hit the weight loss thing, or Drop, which does all of these at the same time. This stuff's pretty cool. It's an oral peptide, combines breakthrough peptides with MCT oil and CMOS to curb appetite, boost energy, and support metabolism. Drop works best as part of a long-term plan, not an overnight solution, supported by healthy eating and regular activity. People are noticing big-time weight loss going that approach. So again, these are some of the major powerful products they've got. Again, the ivermectin collection, longevity, anti-aging. They've got all sorts of stuff in there. And you can do it by goal, kind of a fun way. Anti-aging, you can see all the different products they've got for that. Smiles, this dental stuff for gum receding. They've got hair loss issues. They've got, of course, vitamin D3, longevity. So again, sustains healthy, youthful cells in your body. A whole bunch of stuff. I love this company. It's twc.health. I should probably have that on the screen. twc.health/OTF. TWC, the wellness company. twc.health/OTF. And you are going to find all sorts of amazing products. They've got memberships. If you're wanting to have a doctor available to you, and they do the telemed, it's very, very cool. You can actually get these, memberships. And you save money. You save money on the products. Again, these memberships are fantastic, so I do highly recommend checking some of those out. Also, they've got these meat products, which seemed weird to me, but I tried the beef box, and I got the Cattleman's lean meats, delicious. And I feel like it's like quite a bit of steak, and it's really good quality. So that's the thing. I wish they had more of the ribeyes over here. Next time I'm getting the ribeye one for sure. I love ribeye. That's my favorite steak. But it had other stuff in there that I was like, flank steak. I'd have to make like carne asada or something. Anyway, I was just like, I just want some steaks. So we did some steaks. All said, amazing. So again, they've got incredible products all over the spectrum. They've even got bison jerky or beef jerky, bison trifecta. They've got bison liver. They've got a whole lot of stuff and a whole bunch of understandings that bison has a lot of health benefits to us humans, oddly. twc.health/OTF. twc.health/OTF. Healthy choices, healthy life, healthy living, all that good stuff. That's what we're trying to promote here, folks. Marco Rubio warns against European censorship encroaching on America's free speech. There is a small beginning of the battle with Europe. This needed to happen. There needs to be, and someone, I think it was SGNon, I just recently heard talking about this, and I thought it was a pretty brilliant approach to the problems we're coming. Normally, I don't like it when people try to prognosticate, but this is one thing I 100% agreed with. And it just hit me like, yes, I 100% agree. This is totally going to happen. And it was talking about how NATO likely will try to do a false flag. They're going to get called out for it. And so because of that, getting called out and proven that it's not true, that NATO will then be able to break up. And that has to happen. And this whole war right now has to do with Ukraine joining NATO and NATO being really a European thing, not really America. And America's been paying for it forever. And we've backed away from that. So now Europe's scrambling. This is a really cool little war against Europe, frankly. The whole deep state, just the fact that the deep state's so heavily in Europe, so many of the countries, especially the European Union, an unelected group of bureaucrats that are running everything, whole thing's falling apart. So Marco Rubio using some pretty strong words, talking about this Digital Services Act, and ultimately, this is gonna, Trump's probably at some point going to start playing the tariff card if he has to. But this is, I think this is broke companies trying to get money, but they're trying to pull it out of the United States. And we can't have that. That's not how this works, but that's how game's always been. The United States has given money to just about every country on this planet, and we're paying their bills. And Trump's basically like, we're not doing that anymore. No, we're running insane deficits. That's got to stop. No, we're not doing it. We're going to start manufacturing here. We're going to start doing some stuff differently. We're changing the whole game. And everybody with their hands out are going, but we're going to be in trouble. And it's like, we're not the ones that spent ourselves into this problem, are we? Well, we kind of did, but any country that's been relying on our money and then doing other things and not actually worried about trying to pay their own way, the world's changing, and it's changing quickly. Fortunately, anyways. 2 more Heritage Foundation board members resigned. This is supposedly a conservative think tank. I say supposedly because I don't think it is. And I think it's ultimately falling apart. I believe this is the third board member that has essentially resigned, saying that they've lost touch with what they initially were here to do. Now, the reason that they're saying this is interesting. And again, people have really strong opinions about Israel right now. So again, it's that binary thinking or zero-sum thinking that you've either got to be pro or against. You can't just kind of sit. Like, people hate fence sitters right now. Still, they're like, you can't sit in the middle, Dan. I'm like, yeah, you absolutely can. You absolutely can. In fact, it's the place to be. You should be in the middle. It's a better place. I'm just telling you. I'm going to continue to do it because it's the right place to be. Bell curve. There's more of us over here in the middle than on these crazy extremes. So, Heritage's handling of recent challenges reveals a drift from the principles that once defined its leadership, one of the people that quit said. When an institution hesitates to confront harmful ideas and allows lapses in judgment to stand, it forfeits the moral authority on which its influence depends. What's this have to do with? Nick Fuentes. Him going on Tucker and saying his anti-Semitism stuff. The Heritage Foundation was supposed to come out against that, and the current president basically said, we can't control people's opinions, and we can't, choose. What does he say? He says, said, no institution that hesitates to condemn anti-Semitism and hatred, or that gives a platform to those who spread them, can credibly claim to uphold the vision that this is a different quote. Yeah, the board member he just, something to the effect of, he's like, we disagree. Christians can critique the state of Israel without being anti-Semitic. That's what he said. Like, it was like, that's not untrue. Christians can critique the state of Israel without being anti-Semitic. Yes, absolutely. And that's literally what the Heritage Foundation's pissed off about. That right there. That's why all these people are quitting. Sounds like a deep state board to me. Maybe this one's getting cleaned up too. Sounds like. Hopefully. Lindsey Graham suggesting reopening the Clinton impeachment records after all this latest Epstein file stuff. He's, I think, curious to see if there is any mentions of Epstein or any discussions or, I don't know, he wants to look into it. He's like, I don't know necessarily what or why, and I don't want to re-impeach. He's already impeached. That's good enough. He's not like, Graham's like, I'm not trying to, rebust him, if you will. But we should kind of revisit all the information that was there, and they should open those files up so we can. I don't know. If Graham's behind it, it's probably trying to sidestep something, or I think in his case, provide a bright spotlight on something other than the failures of him in Ukraine that are about to become light of day. I think he's trying to get in front of some of that because he's so dirty when it comes to Ukraine. He is definitely one of the dirty, dirty birds over there. So, yeah, Graham's trying to figure out how to sidestep that. He's definitely a rhino. He's not. I don't even think he's going to make it through this. He's going to be one of the many that are going to lose their positions. But hopefully, it's very bad for his reputation. DOJ is suing both red and blue states to force them to clean voter rolls for the 2026 midterms. So they got a number of different things. Harmeet Dillon doing a fantastic job, and some red states, of course. So it's like, yes, they said 6 states voluntarily did it. But yeah, we got to get these voter rolls cleaned up. And I mean, I've heard some crazy stuff talked about that. That was supposed to be in the original executive order. Juan O'Savin likes to take credit and says his people put together, and they're expecting 90% of that to actually be in the executive order. I'm reasonably sure it's not even going to be close to that, and he's never going to tell us. But my point is I think they're trying to do a lot of the stuff in different avenues rather than trying to force everyone to have to be re-registered. We'll see. Again, I still think that's a great idea, and I'm not against what Juan's saying. I'm just saying that's kind of a pain in the ass, and there's so many legal hoops that are going to be thrown at that. If it's done through the executive order, of course, they can probably get around to many, many things, but if they're going to do it that direction, then I also think that's probably going to end up being much, much closer to actual election day. So 90 days to print ballots, maybe a little bit further. Not going to give a lot of time for nonsense. And so either A, they're going to try to postpone the election, very possible. We talked about that. That was one of the possibilities for the presidential election, wasn't it? That's still something that's possibly on the fence a little bit. We'll see. Courts, who knows? Some court, some district judge says the election is stopped, is stayed. I mean, I would hope immediately that would be shut down. But so we got to clean them up, however it happens. Whatever path we choose, whoever was responsible for it, yay, you get all the credit. You get all the cheese and bacon. Georgia Power, I don't know, it just sounds good right now. I'm a little hungry. Cheese and bacon sounds good. I didn't have my second Unimate. I've only had one so far today. And I took it before I went and worked out, which works out better because, like I said, I get energy. So I'm already like 4 or 5 hours past that now. It's like I probably should have drank one before I started the show. Whatever. Sometimes I'm not too smart. Georgia Powers gets green light to dramatically grow grid to draw data centers. So Georgia's actually doing some work here to get what they're calling 10,000 megawatts of new generation. That would be the equivalent of 10 gigawatts, which is quite a bit of power, by the way. We need terawatts across the nation in the big picture, but it does need to be sort of spread out. You can't just have one giant terawatt facility over here and it's just shoving electricity everywhere. It's kind of got to be, spread out a little bit. So anyway, kind of cool. Good for Georgia. They're doing some good stuff. We've got Secretary Doug Burgum is announcing he will pause leases for these large wind farms. And this is interesting. This is one doing damage to the Biden administration, but they're actually claiming this is national security. I think they mentioned that in this story. Check it out.
Well, today we're sending notifications to the 5 large offshore wind projects that are under construction that their leases will be suspended due to national security concerns. During this time of suspension, we'll work with the companies to try to find a mitigation. But we've completed the work that President Trump has asked us to do. The Department of War has come back conclusively that the issues related to these large offshore wind programs create radar interference that creates a genuine risk for the U.S., particularly related to the where they are in proximity to our East Coast population centers. Well, today.
So another way to look at this too is it causes problems with radar and with our ability to be able to see if, like, say, a submarine parks just outside of one of these wind farms and launches a missile at us. We wouldn't see it happen until it was already well on its way and well past the actual windmills. These things are actually creating a distortion. Probably done on purpose, by the way, guys. Probably done on purpose, with the hope of doing these off-sea things that would literally cause us to not be able to use our radars properly. I think Siemens has been behind a lot of those generators, and so someone high up the food chain is probably going to be implicated at some point, maybe quietly fired, maybe they fall out of a window, who knows, have a heart attack. Depends who gets them or how they get them. But yeah, we've got some craziness going on. California is facing a fuel disaster as refineries and gas stations shut down. Sort of a just story that's keeping pop back up, but we've lost, I think, 20% of our refining ability. Trump is actually looking at getting involved in this. They believe it's creating a national defense problem because California has many, many military bases. I want to say it's something like 30. And we get fuel. We created fuel for our own fighter jets. That's now going to have to be imported, is what Gavin Newsom is basically saying. But I think Trump is kind of like, that's a problem. That's a problem. You can't import. That puts us reliant for our national security on another country or source. Can't do that. So Gavin Newsom's likely in a tough place right now. And again, he wants to do his deep state bidding, and Trump is fighting him. And again, he's part of the four families. Newsom's part of the four families that have run California for over 100 years. Over 100 years. California has been run by these four families. Browns, I forget who's who. I forget which, like Newsom's under one of them and Pelosi's in there. And so they're all part of this craziness. Minnesota Attorney General, they're actually faulting car makers for the theft increases that are happening in Illinois. Literally blaming the car manufacturers. Supposedly Kia and Hyundai, I think, are the two he calls out and says they're not doing anything to make their cars more difficult to steal. But of course, everybody else was like, why don't you guys start putting people in jail, especially people that steal cars? You, AG, make it easier to steal. Why? They would never turn around and blame themselves, obviously. So now they're literally resorting to blaming the car manufacturers. I just think this is awesome. That's insane. It's fantastic. The Oversight Committee Chairman, Comer, he's seeking testimony from several key Minnesota officials for their probe of fraud and waste in Minnesota under Tim Walz's watch. Yeah, Chairman Comer also requests SARS from Secretary Bessent and a staff-level briefing from the DOJ. We will not fund terrorists. So that process is beginning. We are at war all over the place right now. Somali Medicaid mogul accused of looting Maine taxpayers' family allegedly put a bounty on a reporter. I got this story pulled up here. I think it's worth hearing because of the crazy crap that's going on. Make sure I got it sped up a little. Cool. It's 1.25 speed. Hopefully you guys are okay with that. But all said, check this out.
Let's introduce you to Somali-American Abdullah Ali, who came to the U.S. from Somalia in 2009. You're looking at, obviously, the man on my right who had discovered this story. He became a U.S. citizen, started a nonprofit to help immigrants, started several businesses, including a multi-million-dollar migrant care service agency, and in 2024, he ran for president as he raised money to bankroll a militia in Somalia. Yes, you heard that right. A U.S. citizen who, according to the Main Wire, gave an interview with Kenyan media in which he said he raised money in the U.S. to buy weapons, munitions, and supplies for paramilitary force he had hoped to lead as the president of Jubaland. Yes, that is a real state in Somalia. He was running for president in Somalia. Of course, he lost the election. We reached out to the Gateway Community Services in Maine, which Ali founded, did not hear back, ironically enough. The man who broke this report, editor-in-chief of the Main Wire, Steve Robinson, dude, this is crazy.
You really can't make this stuff up. I mean, the guy's running a migrant services agency that bills MaineCare, which is what we call Medicaid, about $5 million a year, at the same time that he's running for president. And to be clear,
in Somalia,
that he's running to be the warlord of Jubaland. Elections in Jubaland aren't exactly like elections in America. It's, whoever has the most guns is able to certify the election. So he needed to buy a paramilitary organization and paramilitary support in order to win that election, and he lost it. But at the very same time that he was in Jubaland and Kenya trying to become a warlord in southern Somalia, he was getting no-bid contracts from the administration of Governor Janet Mills, a Democrat who has been in cahoots with Gateway Community Services from the very beginning. So if there's one thing that I would implore your listeners to understand, it's in Minnesota and in Maine, it's not just the Somali diaspora that has come over here and decided to engage in this criminal behavior. It's an industrial complex with the Democratic Party that enables and turns a blind eye to this behavior because they benefit from it through political support. And indeed, Abdullahi Ali's number two, his assistant executive director, is the former mayor of South Portland, Maine, and is currently a state representative from South Portland and a member of the Appropriations Committee. Decca Delac, one of his former employees, Yusuf, is a representative from Portland. Many Gateway Community Services alums have gone on to become involved in politics, and Governor Janet Mills created the Office of New Americans specifically to cater to the new Americans, new Mainers, illegal aliens, and the only employee of that organization is Alkas Ahmed from Sudan, who is a former employee of Gateway Community Services.
I wish I had more time for this, but you're on a roll. Basically, long story short, is Maine's got a bunch of fraud with people taking money from the government and the taxpayers and then buying rocket launchers, sending them back to run for elections and president of whatever that place is. Jubaland.
And then they're also turning around and getting out the vote for Democrats in places like Lewiston, Maine and Portland, Maine.
Yeah, and when you drive into Maine, there's a big sign that says Maine, the way life should be. Not the way I see it. Steve Robinson, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
They are doing this all over, but this is what they've been doing. They've been building these little, small, very loyal communities, giving them political power so they could infect as a cancer. Yeah, it's being exposed. This 2026 is going to be a crazy year. I would say, and again, there's so many different specifics, but right. So most of us have these different things that we really, really want to see happen immediately. I'm just going to say, temper yourself, guys. Temper yourselves. Long run, okay? That's why I keep saying I'm in the long haul. There's no sprinting in this because we got a long ways to go. And there's no short time to get there. We got as much time as it takes. But this is a process. This is a transition. Our world is changing. It will not look the same when we get to the end of this tunnel. It will be a totally different environment. It will be phenomenal. We'll see. And there's so much disclosure and cool stuff that's coming. So, again, of many kinds. I've talked about that on a recent show that, oddly, I put a lot of work into that thumbnail, and that show got shit views. It really bothered me. Like, killer thumbnail. Whatever. This big insurer is now punishing hospitals for putting patients first. So they used to be called Anthem. I'm sorry for the lip smacking. I hate when I do that. Anthem's what they were called. They're now called Elevance Health. What they're doing is they're now going to penalize hospitals when out-of-network physicians provide care for patients. They're going to get penalized 10% and termination of network agreements if hospitals end up using out-of-network specialists. This is how they'll control everything. They control the insurance. They control what doctors can charge and pay. They control everything. Doctors don't even make the money they used to unless you're really good at playing the deep state game. Most doctors do no harm is really what they live by. Hippocratic oath, I think they call it, right? So, yeah, do no harm. First, do no harm. And I think a lot of doctors are having moral issues. Now, the ones that I think we've imported from other countries, I don't think they care. I think they're all about just making money. I just think they are. I think that's what they're here to do. Make more money. That was go to America and be rich. So I've heard stories of people enhancing their profits. My accountant was telling me this. Enhancing their profits because he got a new billing administrator. The person that actually sent out the insurance forms. So they're trying to doctor those up and juice those up as much as possible. Get the insurance companies to pay for as much. This is why they don't want to show us and be transparent about what it costs because they don't even know. We're going to charge for all sorts of shit and see what the insurance companies pay for. Then when they come back to us, then we'll chisel some stuff off and then we'll charge you what we're going to charge you, or we already got the copay we're going to get. And now it's just an issue of getting as much money as I can from the insurance companies. And we checked your tonsils while you were there, and I did vagisectomy. I'm just making words up here, folks, for a reason. But, I checked your tonsils while I was there. Try to get the money. This is just disgusting. So again, all these people are like, "Oh my God, this is gonna get painful. You gotta take care of me while it gets painful." And it's like we've been screaming about the painful for a long time. That painful is gonna affect each one of us in its own way. I think the more prepared you are, first off, spiritually, I think that helps. It's just you're already going to be in a better place in general, and the way things are going to affect you locally, at least, will be different than a lot of people that are in a more chaotic state. It's just how it's going to play out. It's going to be very distinct per person experience of what happens. Some people are going to have certain funds, or certain friends will pop up, or certain job opportunities, or whatever. Some people won't. This is going to play out. This is going to be difficult in general. And for some people, it's going to be extraordinarily painful. And for some people, not that bad. Some people are going to be way more prepared for this than others. Some people, it's not going to affect them as much. Again, the entire stock market could crash. If you don't have any money in the stock market, you don't care, right? It doesn't affect you at all, really. You're still going to keep working the job you're working, making the money you're making, right? Like paying your rent the way you pay it. Wouldn't change a thing. So, again, this is going to be a different experience for everybody. Everybody. And it depends where you live. There's so many variables. It's awesome. So, yeah, F these hospitals. California Attorney General is pushing back on Trump's new rules on trans care for kids. I thought this one was funny. He's like, if we can give... Let's see if I can find it. I'll do it this way. Look for the word cis. There it is. It's like Bonta's office, this is the AG here, he argued that offering medical care to cisgender individuals, that would be people that think of the sex as what they were when they were born, right? And not providing medical care to transgender individuals is discriminatory. That's not what this is at all. This is completely incorrect. Not allowing you to mutilate someone's genitals or do any sort of change to them that can't be undone. Meaning, you can't really do an addictomy. They don't really exist, right? They come off real easy, but they don't go back on real easy. And the new vaginas don't work properly anyways, from what some have said. I've really seen some strange videos. So it's not an issue of not providing medical care to transgender individuals. You can be transgender, that's fine. I'm just not going to cut your wanker off. You got whooping cough? You got a flu? Yeah, dude, let me help you. So this is stupid, is what it is. Unless I mean, hopefully not, but I think that's a quote. I hope they're not bastardizing that quote, because this just the news. Hopefully not. I didn't pull the quote. I should have almost. So now I'm questioning that. NVIDIA prepares to ship these H200 AI chips to China by mid-February. China has not approved this yet. They want the better chips. We're not going to give them to them. And I think China's also waiting to see what happens with the tariff thing in the Supreme Court. Because if the Supreme Court bows to China, which they might, then it's going to be very painful and China's going to have the upper hand. If the Supreme Court bows to the Constitution, then China's screwed. This is going to get very interesting. That's all I can say. It goes both ways. China manufactures a lot of stuff, but they don't use any of it. That's the thing. It's not like they can make a bunch and people just be like, I'm not buying any more of that anymore. We're tired of this cheap crap. And they're like, but I got just buckets of this stuff. Like, I got to get rid of it. I don't have room for it. I don't want it. Damn. Right? So they try to flood the market with cheap stuff. That's usually what happens where a lot of these little, what are they, klatchkis? Is that what they call them around here? Silver and gold up. Silver was up a bit more earlier in the day. Gold, they're like making a big deal that it broke 4,400. It was bouncing on 45, which again is a bad sign for the dollar. When the gold, wherever direction gold goes, that's the dollar. Keep that in mind, right? It's the value of the dollar. If gold's going up, the value of the dollar's gone down. Literally. No trickery in there at all. Period. In fact, they don't really do paper contracts in the gold like they do silver because of the price difference. You get screwed on that one really quick. Like a couple people call in that call, if you will, and get that gold coin sent to them instead, and you don't have it. That gets expensive very quickly. Silver, on the other hand, it's getting more expensive though. 68. Told it was going to go through 70 before the end of the year. Here we are. We're definitely going to do that. It's going to hit 100 probably within the first quarter of next year, and it will likely come close to 200 by the end of the year. I would say plus or minus. Well, it could be plus, but 180 to 200 range by the end of the year next year. 2026 is going to be a difficult time. So if you can prepare, be prepared. You should. Again, silver was up, and they've been tinkering it down. It was up past 69 for a little while. Pretty cool stuff. Just remember, drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. If you got a 401k or an IRA, move that money sideways, as much of it as you can, tax-free, penalty-free, best customer service you're ever going to get with my friends at Goldco. I love these guys. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. 4 data points. Move your money, tax-free, penalty-free. You're going to get up to 10% free silver, meaning if you got $100,000 that you're moving over, you're going to get $10,000 of free silver. Silver's going to multiply. Better than gold. Gold holds value. Gold protects wealth. Gold is awesome. Gold is a great thing. This gold coin would buy me a fully tailored suit back in 1913. This gold coin will buy me a fully tailored suit right now. It holds value. You don't get rich off it. I haven't been able to get 2 suits out of it, but this has a multiplier. This has changed significantly. This is up over 100% just this year. Over 100%. Gold's up, I don't know, a lot because the dollar sucks, but not even close to 100%. 100%. It's got a ways to go. There's still a tripling left in it, at least, by the end of next year even. Take advantage of that free silver. That's a huge deal, up to 10%. Divest out of their system, which is moments away from crashing. Europe's toast. Europe's having a hard time. This Russian war thing is really going to mess with stuff. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of that system. I do actually love gold, by the way. It's beautiful. And it's extraordinarily helpful right now. Protect your wealth. This is the place to do it. drslikesgold.com. All right, Devin Nunes, I'm not going to play this, but he was talking about right after the Mar-a-Lago raid. He said, I said this is outrageous. I know exactly what they're looking for. They are looking for our report, the House Republican report, because it's a damning report. The report wasn't at Mar-a-Lago, the National Archives, that made the referrals should be investigated. The document was locked at the CIA in a safe within a safe. Literally. Nunes is like, no, this is bullshit. So again, there's many people that are claiming they were looking for the biscuit. Could be they were looking for this, they were looking for that. Now, what they've publicly acknowledged maybe in documents, I'm sure they weren't like, we're looking for the biscuit. They couldn't publicly put that in any FBI documents because that would imply that Trump is actually in charge. So that's not really probably anywhere other than people's lips. Doesn't mean it's not true, by the way. Just saying. It's not probably written down anywhere. Devin Nunes, though, he's talking about what I think they probably have actually said it was, if you will. This is what we're looking for. This is what should have been there. National Archives said you had it. No, that's a lie. National Archives should have reached out because it wasn't even true. You actually literally did an illegal raid without probable cause on a former president. This is unheard of. It was, anyways. All because stuff was in the CIA. And what? Brennan didn't tell anyone? Well, there's a surprise. Dude's a horrible individual. Pentagon fails its audit for the eighth consecutive time, eighth year in a row. They're expecting by 2028, though, they're going to finally pass an audit. And again, when you haven't even come close to having any practices that are actually appropriate for auditing or accounting measures, if you will, and they didn't. And so it takes a while to get an organization to this size up to speed. They're trying to. It's not easy. So again, impressive that they're coming as far as they have. Hopefully within 2 years, we will be able to pass an audit. It sounds like dozens of billions of dollars in question. Didn't sound like it was trillions or anything crazy. So it, again, sounds like we're moving in the right direction. We'll see. Again, we should be able to audit the Fed. That makes a lot of sense. Pentagon definitely is where we spend the most money in one place, but the Fed is where all the money comes from, goes, and we should be able to see where they send it because it's a private organization that we are indebted to that's doing something illegal, by the way. We should be minting our own coinage, period. End of story. The Treasury should do it. We shouldn't have some private organization that never should have come into play, ever. U.S. forces target a third Dark Fleet tanker near Venezuela. It's kind of funny how the article works. It's like, we found one we want to get. We're en route, is what they said. And then, well, apparently we've got it now. We seized another oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. Panamanian flag tanker Bella 1 was en route to Venezuelan ports for loading. This vessel is subject to U.S. sanctions. It's the third oil tanker seized by the U.S. in the Caribbean since imposition of the naval blockade against Venezuela. We are well within our rights. And of course, the deep state politicians in our country are going to fight Trump on this. So it's fun to see which ones pop up and are supporting Venezuela and drug dealers, Rand Paul being one of them. Just want to point that out, and many others. Trump removes nearly 30 career diplomats from ambassadorial positions. They're from all over the place, countries that I can't even pronounce in some cases. So, yeah, he's all over the place. Nothing really jumped out. Philippines and Vietnam, Papua New Guinea, Marshall Islands, Fiji, Laos. Those were kind of, I thought, interesting. But outside of that, it was, I don't know. Armenia, stay out of Glendale. That's all I can say, man. Stay out of Glendale here in California. I'm kidding. I actually had a good Armenian friend. He was a sweet guy. I worked at their company. He was a very lovely guy, though. Nice. Japan is set to restart their Fukushima plant after 15 years. It just tripped me out that it's been that long. I think it was 2003? I think it was, right? 2001? It was 2001, wasn't it? 3/11/2001, wasn't it? Yeah, anyway, whatever. So long ago. 2011. Oh, yeah. 2011. Let's do some math, Dan. Needless to say, whatever the case is, that's awesome. 15 years. That would have helped. I just gotten backwards and could have been smarter there. I was trying to go by memory, which is not usually a good idea. Powerful. This, I think, is their only nuclear plant, by the way. So them turning this back on is a pretty big deal. The fact that Trump's where he is and they've got the new prime minister they've got right now is also very interesting. So, again, a lot of things are getting better in the right places. North Korea, they're warning Japan not to seek nukes. Or will launch a missile at them? Again, they can only shoot a few at a time, especially if it comes to anything significant. But they're probably getting them from China, by the way. So, again, craziness, because there's no way they can afford to build missiles like they are. I think China's totally helping them out. They like it. It's the proxy. It's like Ukraine. It's a proxy place. It's a place where we can have a little fun proxy war without, it being on our own land. And blow up other people. It's cool. That's always fun. But we don't like killing our own. China, in particular, loves killing their own themselves. They don't want anyone else to kill their own for them. They're like, no, we got this. We're really good at killing our own people. That's cool. Denmark's a little freaking out right now. Trump basically appoints a Greenland envoy. Greenland is technically owned by Denmark or whatever, and so sending an envoy to Greenland to actually treat them like they're their own separate things, kind of like when we send an envoy to Taiwan, it pisses China off because China's like, hey, you should be talking to us. That's our place. And we're like, meh, not really. And so that's what Trump's doing with Greenland, and it's pissing people off a lot. We'll see what happens, but Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry, he is now the special envoy to Greenland, and it'll be interesting to see what they do. Greenland is strategically super important to us, and at some point, we will likely make a deal with Denmark to offer them more than make a deal with Greenland to offer them more than what Denmark currently does. Denmark can't really afford to go toe-to-toe with us when it comes to what we can offer and give them when it comes to a protection, especially if they let us put some bases on their landmass. So we would bring a lot to them, and it would benefit them tremendously. So we'll get there. China has announced a provisional tariff of up to 42.7% against the EU's dairy products, or dairy in general. 42.7%. That's just going to hurt the EU. China's playing hardball, and EU's got really EU's just screwed. German government signaling challenging years ahead. They are the number one economy in the EU. They are hurting so badly. So badly. France is the number 2 economy in the EU. They're also hurting very badly, though they're planning on building a nuclear aircraft carrier. They don't have money for that. They don't have money for that at all. This is just bullshit. Emmanuel Macron's just like making stuff up now. He sounds like Mom Donnie. This is retarded. They don't have money for a friggin' aircraft carrier. It'll never get completed if they actually try to build. Or France is eventually going to have to pull their heads out of their lay asses. EU has crushed itself by sanctioning Russia, is what Viktor Orban's saying. Yeah, their energy costs. They used to buy a lot of energy from Russia. Russia provided a lot of energy to Europe, and now they can't. And it's costing them a fortune. Again, we got California here. It's like, we'll just buy stuff from other countries. And it's like, Trump's like, huh? Dude, you're an idiot. Which he is, by the way. He's an idiot with a beautiful smile, let's be honest. So, yeah, crazy stuff there. Israel, not a lot. I was expecting to find more stories, to be honest with you. Major Israeli strikes on Lebanon as Beirut is days away from disarming Hezbollah, is what they're saying. We'll see. We'll see. I don't like this. I get nervous with Israel continuing to do these attacks like they are. But I do understand that there's a lot of places that have been attacking them that are on their border. I'm glad I don't have to figure all this out. I know a lot of people got it dialed in, I'm sure. I think the Israel thing is very interesting. And again, you know, it's funny, we're denazifying Ukraine, we denazified Germany. There's so many things that tie together, and the Khazarians likely went to Israel. Anyway, Pentagon wants ethics inquiry on Rep. Vindman's Ukraine business deals. They're going to be digging into that. That's pretty awesome. Vindman brothers, there's two of them. One of them was the one that was involved in the impeachments. He was, I think, one of the people that was like a witness, and then anyway, the dude's, nuts. So he was a big part of the problem. He was the one that seemed to have all these ties to Ukraine and knew all this information. Well, they're digging into him big time now. Big time. And I'm sure they're going to find some stuff. I think they're retired military, one of them anyways, too, which court martials are coming. And this is probably where we're going to see the first one. I'm thinking that that Mark Smith guy or whatever his name is, the astronaut dude from Arizona, right? Whatever his name is. I think he's toast. I think he's going to be, going the way of the dodo, if you will. Top Russian general got smoked, car bombing. This is kind of messed up. Probably the Ukraine's behind it. Significant. This is a very significant kill, that's for sure. Lieutenant General Fanil Sarvarov. He was a former commander of Russian forces in Syria and the head of operational training for the general staff of the Russian armed forces. Ooh, wow. Wow, that's kind of a big one. Died in an explosion as he drove his car, a Kia Sorento, out of the car park of a residential block. Really? A Kia Sorento? Boy, don't take that to Minnesota. They'll steal it. Because, it's easy to steal, I guess. And they got a bunch of criminals there. Citizens in eastern Ukraine are not going to be allowed to vote, Zelensky says. Zelensky's trying to do this whole election thing. He's going to totally try to control it. And he's wanting, guarantees from the United States that he can pull this off safely and securely. I think Trump's going to be like, yeah, only if we can have anything to do with the actual election itself. Otherwise, no, not a chance, because you're going to cheat. We're 100% sure of that. We know that for sure. So how this plays out, we'll see. I know Europe is going to be very involved in this election. You watch. So they'll try to have one so the whole world believes that everybody wants Zelensky in there, which is obviously not true. Everybody in the world knows that's not true. Then when we get that NATO false flag moment in time, then we will have pretty much the whole entire puzzle put together. And I think that's where Trump is going to be able to say, here's the thing, Europe, nope, we're not involved. You guys want to have a war with Russia? Have at it. Russia, you need our help? Let us know. We'd rather be friends with you. I mean, it'd be funny if you did something like that. But yeah, when you know that your allies are actually working against you, and we've got England and Europe right now trying to literally sue our American companies over freedom of speech, literally of American citizens, that I know I can't go to England. I know I can't. I probably can't go to France. There's probably a number of countries I can't go to. I'd probably actually have a decent chance in China, believe it or not. I don't think they'd give me too much shit. I'm actually pretty pro-China in general. I have respect for them. I think most people are hot. I'm kidding. Macron seeks new talks with Putin, forcing alternative path to stalled U.S. negotiations. So yeah, France, Europe is trying desperately to act like they're the ones that are going to put together the peace plan. But Putin knows that Trump is where it's at. Putin knows that the only person or the only country on this planet that matters when it comes to this war in Ukraine is us. Period. Europe, you don't matter at all. Now, again, there's a lot of people talking about how Russia is going to invade Europe. That's absolutely crap. That's not true. I don't believe it anyway. I believe Tulsi Gabbard when she tells us they don't have the ability to even take over Ukraine and actually hold it if they ever tried to take it back, let alone all of Europe. They just don't have the abilities. They don't have the forces. They don't have they just don't have it. And, I mean, Putin's been very clear. That's not what he wants anyways. He wants to denazify Ukraine. He wants to remove them from the possibility of NATO. He wants them, de-weaponized, essentially. And he wants his area where the people want to be Russian. And then, whatever. If the rest of Ukraine wants to hate Russia, then so be it. So Reuters, again, spreading lies and propaganda to prolong the Ukraine conflict is what Tulsi Gabbard's saying. She's posting this, Aaron Banco said, new U.S. intel shows Putin's territorial ambitions remain unchanged, goals that would likely undermine the current deal. The intel paints a starkly different picture of Putin than the one painted by U.S. officials in recent months. And she responds to that, and it's supposedly Reuters' story. DNI Tulsi Gabbard responds, no, this is a lie and propaganda. Reuters is willingly pushing on behalf of warmongers who want to undermine President Trump's tireless efforts to end this bloody war that has resulted in more than 1 million or a million casualties on both sides. Dangerously, you are promoting this false narrative. Yeah. It's good that she's calling them out. And again, maybe that's why she got some love from Mr. Dan Scavino. Barry Weiss defends yanking 60 Minutes segment on controversial El Salvador prison, says it wasn't ready. I question a lot of things on this one. I think they were literally going to try to, one, plug this story from an angle that was meant because they still thought, I think some of this stuff was going to be in the courts about the Tren de Aragua and all this, right? And ultimately, that's probably not what happened. Second off, I think there's so much evidence that we could counter any sort of narrative they try to put together, that it would ultimately end up making them look bad. And then on top of that, CBS is in so much legal hot water as it is anyways with the Trump administration that they really can't afford to push something that's just outright ridiculous. Trump will probably sue them. Or if not, they're going to get kicked out of the ability to go on Air Force One or anything, right? There's just a lot of little things they can do. So whatever. They pulled the story because it was crap. They would have used it if they thought they could get the ratings with it. Obviously, they can't. Again, want to remind you guys of Healthy Home, or Heal Thy Home, as we sometimes like to refer to it. But Healthy Home's really, really awesome products. I don't want to spend too terribly long on it, but your stem cells, they're not putting stem cells in you. They're actually helping your body produce more of them, 25 to 40%. This Stem Active is a great product. Stem cells are the cells that actually heal you. So again, helps your healing ability. And as we age, the stem cell numbers start to degrade. That's partially how age starts to win. Don't let it win. Let yourself have a fighting chance. Stem Active, it's a great product. Oh, here it is. I just got a couple left. In fact, I haven't taken it yet today. I need to do that. Balance is another one for ladies that are transitioning either into baby making or out of baby making. This is a transdermal lotion. There is no synthetic hormones in it. You can actually use this while you're on your hormone replacement, which a lot of ladies are doing. One lady didn't necessarily like the hormone replacement, took the Balance. That just solved everything for her. The other one actually liked the hormone replacement, tried the Balance, and it made it even better for her. Balance is bringing a lot of balance back to people's lives. Again, no synthetic hormones in there. Amaze, collagen peptide. It's amazing. It's a liquid. It's delicious. And it is the smallest, peptide's the smallest little form that molecule can take in it. So it's absorbed very quickly in your body. There's no powders to dissolve. It's literally already a liquid. It's amazing. And it helps with sagging skin, sore muscles, joint discomfort, lifeless hair. It helps you grow hair, fingernails, all that stuff. Collagen's very involved. Collagen's one of the most important proteins in the body. Prime helps you with your vessels. Your blood vessels are able to carry more oxygen. Your blood, essentially, is able to be oxidized even further. So nitric oxide booster, it's energy is what it is in a nutshell. You're carrying more oxygen to your body in every beat of the heart than you normally do. It turns out to be more energy. It's not a weird artificial energy where you feel a buzz or something, but it's literally you just have more energy. You're doing things and you're not tiring or fatiguing like you once normally would. It's just giving you a pep, a step. It's helping a lot. So nitric oxide booster, especially for people that work out, I highly recommend that one before you go to the gym. It kicks in within minutes. It's very awesome, incredible. That, and I'd say the Una Mate, man. And I haven't actually done both the same. I got to do that. I'm going to do both at the same time. and then go down to the gym. They'll probably do awesome. Also, STEM Active for pets. It's about half the price of what you would pay for yourself as a human. Keep your pets, same concept, that they're healing cells. Don't let them get sick. Don't let them die. They don't live long enough as it is. I can't stand that about animals. It's painful. All said, you want to go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Once again, danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. And get your healthy thoughts, healthy life, healthy living. I am going to make an announcement at the end of this show today in regards to the community shows, the tier things I do. Tier 5, $5 tier and the $25 tier. So any of you guys that are actually involved in that, please stick around for the final announcement that I'm going to make. And I think all that said, and music-wise too, I think I'll give you an idea of what we're doing here in a second. I got a story that ties into it, and that was kind of nice how that fell into my lap a little bit. Flash flooding in Northern California leads to flooded roads, water rescues, and 1 death. So yeah, we're going to have a pretty gnarly amount of water come in Southern California. I know Northern California and Washington State and also they've been having all sorts of crazy wind up there. That was part of that La Nina that they were expecting, which we're still living through. We're supposed to start raining tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and I think it's supposed to go into Friday, which is going to be interesting. So yeah, going to have a wet Christmas, not necessarily white. I don't think it's quite cold enough, even for the mountains nearby. All said, Elon Musk's SpaceX rocket exploding over the Caribbean placed 3 planes at risk. They supposedly didn't have enough fuel to be able to go around the no-fly zone area, and so risked and flew through it. No damage was done. All the planes made it back home, but they're trying to make a big deal about it because they want us all to hate Elon Musk right now. I always think it's kind of interesting when they point us in a direction and they're like, hate this person because of this. Whatever. Delaware Supreme Court, and this is probably why, they reinstated Musk's record-setting 2018 Tesla compensation plan. Delaware was trying to stop it, their district courts and everything, and finally the Supreme Court reinstates it and shut down the district court nonsense and is letting Trump collect his money that he has been owed, I guess, for about 6 years. And apparently this is why everyone's now talking about how Trump is worth over $700 billion and technically is, I think, the richest man on the planet, easily, hands down. Jim Beam's going to be shuttering one of their distilleries, not for good, just for a year. They're going to actually enhance it. They're going to try to make it better, maybe put some AI robot type stuff, who knows. But they are going to shut one of their facilities down, one of their main ones. It is the, where is it? They're still going to keep open their their Booker No distillery in Boston and their Freddie Booker No craft distillery in Claremont? I don't know, assume you say it like that. The one they're shutting down is their main distillery, and I guess that's called the James B. Beam campus? Yeah, I guess that's what they call it. So, all said, for any of you guys that care or love, I'm not a big bourbon whiskey or whiskey. When I lived in Tennessee, I drank way too much of it. I don't like whiskey at all anymore. Paramount updates, Warner Brothers offer affirms Ellison family backing. It's just funny how they're fighting this. The board is like, no, the Netflix deal is way better. But it's weird how I don't know how their math works. Maybe they're doing that new math that they do these days where, you can get any answer. But they said Paramount presented Warner Brothers with an all-cash $30 per share bid valuing the entertainment empire, including its portfolio of television networks, at $108.4 billion. This would be awesome for the people that own shares. What they were offered by Netflix was $23.25 a share, plus stock of $4.50 per share, giving the deal, which is basically $27.75 a share, which is almost $2.25 per share less than the Warner Brothers deal. So that would be a total equity value of $72 billion versus $108 billion, which they're claiming is the shittier choice. Obviously, the board at Warner Brothers is corrupt, obviously. Obviously, they're getting some weird payouts from this Netflix deal, or they directly tie into the deep state with the Obama and all the stuff that's going on, because Netflix is totally deep state, 100%. If you're still actually subscribed to Netflix, I get it, I guess, but yeah, it's not. That's definitely a deep state company, hardcore. World's largest aviation giant abandons Google over security concerns. I thought this was pretty funny, and don't blame them at all. Airbus is not going to be using Google Cloud for their storage of their data, especially when it comes to some of their more classified intellectual property type stuff because they know that it's not safe. That China's got back doors into Google, most likely. Yeah, so they're not going to put any of that stuff in there. Or anyway, well, they're stored in America, so they're blaming us. They're afraid that we're going to actually look at their classified stuff, which maybe we do too. Who knows? I mean, CIA for sure. It wouldn't surprise me. NSA, sure. Space Force, sure. Probably. We probably have backdoors into all this stuff. So, yeah, cloud computing, by the way, is not, or cloud storage is a really bad idea in the big picture. This is an interesting UFO story that I thought was kind of fun. Supposedly, this guy had a small container-sized cylinder object that floated next to his plane. That's about a minute of this. Check it out.
Shuttle 6084, turn left heading 310. 310, Shuttle 6084.
It's a strange small object that we just flew by, a small silver canister. Do you know what that could be?
49 Kilo, we've had no reports in that area. What altitude and direction is it heading?
It appears to be standing still. I'm at 3,500 feet. It was right off our wingtip. Small silver canister.
Roger, thanks. Do you think it's a drone or is it like a balloon type?
I saw nothing attached to it. It was sort of hovering there. It was astonishing. I don't know what it was.
Creepy.
I want to believe.
Chronos 402, contact approach on 125.75.
2575, Chronos 402. Good luck with the aliens.
Good luck with the aliens. Nice. You gotta like that. You gotta like that. That is for sure. Barry Manilow, 82, reveals lung cancer diagnosis. Very sad. So he inspired. I was actually, there was a song in particular that I wanted to play. I saw it mentioned in a story somewhere, not the song, but the band name, and it's actually a location. I think it tied around Epstein in some weird way. But all said, and I'm like, I forgot about that song. It's a really cool song. I'd love to be able to work that into my music show. And I'm like, maybe I'll just do something that's kind of soft rock, which I thought was a good idea. And then I saw the Barry Manilow story, and I'm like, all right, so it's going to be inspired by Barry Manilow. It's going to be a soft rock theme, and that is exactly what we're going to be doing. So, yeah, hopefully that makes more sense in the big picture. Gavin Newsom wants to take away 2 million California gardens. I want to play this, but they're already long enough. It's it's some weird zone zero thing, and if you've got like a garden in your backyard, and they're saying there's about 2 million people that might be affected by it. I'm wondering about me. I mean, I've got fruit trees on the side of the yard, a couple of them, and then I've got like a tomato plant next to my house, and I've got a pepper plant, and I had a watermelon plant, but I planted it at a wrong time, so I don't know if it's alive or dead. Seems like the actual string or whatever, the vine is still alive, but there's no leaves on it in any way, shape, or form. So I don't know if it's going to come back to life when we get a warmer. All said, if not, I'll plant another one. Learning things as we go. But yeah, so having fun with the whole planting idea. So I don't know if they're going to try to take that away from us. I can't imagine that being legal. And again, the reasoning for doing it's kind of weird too. It's like, for not enough water. Yeah, they're just so crazy. It is 1984 all over again. So yeah, Gavin Newsom's a horrible, horrible, horrible individual. I hope you guys know that. I wanted to do an announcement regarding the tier stuff. I've been doing it for, I think, almost 2 years, now a little over 2 years. I do a $5 Zoom meeting on the third Saturday of every month. So I just did that on the 20th. And it's at 1 o'clock Pacific time, by the way, not that that matters too much. And then the fourth Saturday of every month, which is going to be the 27th this month, I broadcast the show, and we do it at the same time, 1 p.m., and it's a live show that we do. And like I said, I think we're on our 25th, 26th show, and we call it In the Mix. All said, we're going to do this show this month, and I'm going to do one more month. The last month that we're going to do the tier stuff is going to be January. And so January 17th will be the last $5 meeting. And January 24th will be the last In the Mix, if you will. So what I want people to understand is, one, I pull these lists the day of the event. So the 17th, I'll pull the last list about 30 minutes before we meet. If you're still a reoccurring subscriber at that point, you will be invited. If you've canceled at that point, totally cool. I totally understand. What you want to do is you want to go to onthefringe.locals.com, and when you log in there to the subscribe thing or whatever, that's where you can fix, adjust, whatever, cancel. I can't do it. I've had a few people ask me if I can cancel for them, and I can't. I can't cancel for you. I have no ability to do that. It has to be done by you. But that will be the last show. So if you guys want to be a part of the last show, certainly do a reoccurring subscription, $5 to be the 17th Zoom meeting, and if $25 to be on the show. And it's honestly a great place where you can plug whatever you're doing for next to nothing. Advertising goes for way more than $25, trust me. So it is, it's just sort of something I always kind of did out of the kindness of my heart. A lot of these things have kind of moved in a direction I never really thought they would. So I just want to free myself up to do other things, or maybe not always be locked down on Saturdays. It might just be nice to be able to take a day off every week, you know, have one day where I know I can plan stuff and not have to be like, which Saturday is it? All said, I love you guys. But yeah, if you want to keep the reoccurrent thing going, awesome. And then you can cancel immediately after the 17th or 24th, depending on where you are. You can also keep donating to me. I love that. I appreciate that. There's a number of you guys that donate to me, and you guys are amazing. But for those of you that are literally doing it to be a part of the meetings and stuff like that, I'm just letting you know those will be ending in January. That will be the last of the meetings that we will do. So I love you guys. We're doing this all together, and sometimes we've got to get out of certain ruts so we can maybe make our way towards something else. And I think that's what needs to happen at this point. But I love you guys, and I love the support that we've all had. We certainly will continue to work together. Where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.